Hey everyone, this is Kaz here of Kaz-Magic. Thank you for tuning into another one of my podcasts. This is for Creative Underground. First off, I want to say thank you guys for tuning into the very last one. It was a very good first run, and I definitely appreciate all of you just taking the time to just give me all the support that you needed. It was very welcoming to be able to do that. So this week, this podcast, I want to talk about art and social media. So art on social media is definitely a challenging one. It's very competitive. You do have people out there that have been doing social media for a long time, and they have very good handle on it. I have been doing social media for a very long time myself, but some social media platform I got into a little bit late because I didn't really think about what kind of uses it could actually be for it. But then again, I guess I just really was getting into the swing of just getting much more familiar with just Facebook. And then, of course, Facebook started having different groups to where you can actually join to post your art. There's Instagram that gives you a little bit of options on hashtags, along with like TikTok, and of course, there's Snapchat. But what I'm gonna do is give you guys my advice on how to handle art and social media for those of you that have not actually gotten into the whole posting your art on social media quite just yet, and hopefully these tips will help out. And I've also been kind of taking notes from everyone else that have been using social media as well. So when you do some digging, you actually get a few little pointers here and there. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys. So the first thing you definitely want to do is choose your platform. That means choose your audience and the types of audience that you want to try to, display your artwork to. For me, I use Facebook, Instagram. I try TikTok. I can't really get into TikTok like that, but I mean, it does have some uses, but TikTok is not my strongest platform. Twitter. Twitter I did use at one point where I had another account, and I didn't really get a lot of traction at Twitter at first, but years later I started getting back on Twitter, and I started to get a little more traction once I got used to the whole hashtag idea for Instagram. And I will say that the very first social media that I started off with, I wouldn't really consider it as social media, but it's pretty much what it's turned into now, because I don't really see too many of the people that I follow on there anymore. It would definitely be DeviantArt. I started on DeviantArt back in 2000 and I want to say 2003 or possibly 2004. I can't remember exactly the exact year, but DeviantArt was the very first place where I was starting posting my artwork. I was getting a lot of feedback from other artists that were actually starting off with their posting their art to their social media. Well, I'm sorry, to DeviantArt, and the community was really good. The community was like super good at the time, but from what I can tell with DeviantArt now, it's not the same as it was back then. And maybe it's because of the fact that I don't really see my old friends there anymore that I used to connect very well with, or maybe it's just that things have actually changed on DeviantArt itself. But I also post my artwork to ArtStation, and ArtStation is more of a portfolio thing for me than DeviantArt was. DeviantArt was a portfolio thing, but I mean, professional portfolio wise, it is definitely ArtStation. And I thought about going back to DeviantArt and posting some art, but I posted some art there years ago, and it's not getting that same traction like it used to years ago. So many things have changed with DeviantArt. ArtStation, I'm really liking how ArtStation's platform is, and I'm gonna say I'm definitely gonna stick with ArtStation for a very long time if I want to try to really get my much more professional looking work out there to really get some kind of credibility and some feedback. Facebook is by far my strongest platform, and I guess it is because of the fact that I am much more familiar with Facebook. Facebook has been that platform of where I can set up my own page, my artist page, just like you would with anything, like you could with DeviantArt, with ArtStation, Instagram, and multiple others. I can set up my own artist page to have separate from my actual Facebook. And that's what I really like about posting my artwork to Facebook, is that I can separate my personal life from my career life. And that's just the number one thing about it. My artwork can be shared to multiple groups. And I can also advertise my artwork so that way people can absolutely be able to see my artwork, and if they want to go and follow my page, they can. That's the key thing about social media right now, is that you're choosing your. That's the main thing. What I was saying, like, choose your platform, choose your audience. YouTube has definitely become a pretty good platform for me, and it was a bit of a rough start off. It was a bit of a rough start off. I mean, but that's with any social media. Like, it's gonna be a bit of a rough start off with anything that you do in social media. Now, when I say that types of audience, you do have specific types out there. You do have those that are much more political. You do have those that are much more musical based, and it doesn't necessarily have to just be your artwork. If you just want to cater to artists, you have artists out there that perform music, or dancers. You can cater to those kind of audience there if they really like your kind of artwork, and then they'll actually follow you. That's if they follow you, of course. I'm not gonna say that getting a follower is easy, but you definitely want to try to choose the type of audience that you want to try to cater to. Now, as I was gonna say, Twitter is by far my least strongest, if I may say, because Twitter is definitely one of those. It's basically what Tumblr once was. Now, I did try Tumblr, and I gave up on Tumblr like years ago. The main reason why I gave up on Tumblr was because I couldn't remember my password to absolutely get in. But when I really tried to go back and absolutely try to get into Tumblr, I just could not remember anything. I couldn't remember my username. I couldn't remember nothing. I guess because of the fact that I was trying to come up with different usernames, and I stuck with one username that specifically described me as Kaz. And that's something that I just decided to absolutely stick with. So Tumblr, I went ahead and scratched that off. Twitter has definitely come back to being useful. Like I said, it is not my strongest platform, but it does have its uses for what I'm trying to do. Now, I do have two separate Twitter accounts now. The old one that I did use before, I went ahead and decided to open that one back up. But right now, my main one that I'm really using is the one where I'm actually posting my artwork to get people to absolutely be able to take a look at. And that one is like by far my lowest following crowd, but still the hashtags definitely came into play with the platform. There's not really a whole lot to say on when it comes to choosing your audience, because so many people have this thing about them of what type of audience they really want to cater to. So definitely keep in mind of what kind of audience you definitely want to get to absolutely see your work. The next advice I definitely want to say is follow your inspirational artists. So what I mean by that is follow an artist that absolutely have some kind of experience under their belt. Do you have people that are following Art Germ, Scotty Young, Creature Box? You have some of my friends that have absolutely gotten themselves published here and there, but also they did a lot of networking to really get the crowd of people to follow them. And of course, they have become inspirations to other people. And I've had people to tell me that I'm inspirational to them. So that's what I mean by follow your artists that are very inspirational and that actually have experience underneath their belt. I get so many people to message me every once in a while telling me about how they like my art, or talk to me about how, or they basically just tell me how much I really inspired them to get back into art. Some people have actually stopped drawing, and they got back to drawing again because of the fact that they come across me and a few other artists that start to get experience underneath their belt and getting themselves out there. Now, every once in a while, I'll talk to some artists on some of the social media that I look up to, that I really admire because of their mind frame about their art, or the advice that they actually give to help others get a reality check on how it is when you actually get out into the art world. And they definitely say themselves that it's definitely not an easy thing to tackle, because when you're making artwork, you're making artwork to try to get yourself known. You're trying to get something that people absolutely recognize about you, and that's true. I do have a specific art style that people have absolutely called either anime, or some people say that my artwork is very edgy, but some people say that it's not 100% anime. So my art is definitely based on multiple things. It definitely has multiple artists that I have definitely looked up, but also there are techniques that I decided to actually put upon myself to really get my artwork to be in its own way to where people can actually recognize it. So basically, when you're following artists that have experience underneath their belt, you're learning from them. And that's the whole point of why you want to follow them. You want to follow them because of the fact that they know exactly what they're doing. And these are some artists that have had maybe 20 years of experience compared to my, I say, 7 years of experience now with social media and a few other things, and absolutely getting into conventions. So definitely make sure that you're absolutely following artists that have some kind of experience underneath their belt. I know I keep repeating myself about it so much. I'm constantly repeating myself about it. My apologies on that. So another thing to remember about social media is using hashtags. And definitely rest in peace to my great friend Holly Day. She was the one that got me on Instagram, and she was the one that taught me about hashtags, because I really didn't. At first, I didn't really understand what the whole hashtag thing was about. When I saw the hashtag, I knew that was the number sign. That was the number symbol. So I was used to that being the number symbol, but I didn't realize that people were using hashtags to get into the trend of other people seeing what they posted about something. And at first, I found it a little aggravating at first, because anytime I saw somebody post something on Facebook, they would go hashtag this, hashtag that, and I'm like, what in the world are they doing with that? Because the thing that came to my mind was number symbol this, number symbol that, but I didn't know it was called hashtag at the time. So hashtag is definitely a strong thing to use in social media. With the hashtags, you definitely get a good variety of people that will absolutely discover your art, especially when it comes to months that have challenges like Inktober, March of Robots. when you use hashtag March of Robots or Inktober or October Art or any kind of specific thing of a challenge, you're probably going to get maybe over thousands of people absolutely checking out what you have done for that challenge. Inktober was definitely the one that has set the bar for me to get a lot of traction with the hashtag. And I've done Inktober for maybe, I think this is probably going to end up being like maybe the 5th year that I end up doing Inktober. Well, Inktober is going on like all year right now, according to Jake Parker, because I get my emails from him all the time now. Well, should I say from his team, about what the next Inktober art is going to be about per week. And this is maybe like a 52-week thing. I want to say it's a 52-week thing. It's a yearly thing now, but I know that when October comes, then that's going to absolutely get a lot more Inktober traction going on, because I think some people are just probably waiting until October, and that may be it. But definitely keep in mind about using the hashtags. Now, hashtags can also be pretty critical, because some hashtags do not have very strong traction. So you want to go for the hashtags that have maybe over 100,000 types, and this would definitely be a big help when it comes to something like that. I'm not really sure exactly how much to absolutely say about hashtag, except for when my friend Holly taught me about that hashtag, I didn't really know exactly what hashtags to use at first. So with her help, especially when she was doing photography, she definitely used hashtags that were going to be very commonly used. And every once in a while, some people will click on certain hashtags to find your work, but also there will be some hashtags out there that are not very strong. So it would be super rare for you to build up one hashtag that, if you were to get a trend star with just that one hashtag, to absolutely get it to blow up the way it would be. Now, this one I definitely want to talk very huge about. Decide whether you want to post for the following, or if you just want to showcase your art. That one is super critical. The reason why I said to decide if you want to post for the following, or just to post your or just to showcase your work, you definitely want to show people your best, but you also don't want to show people something that you possibly have halfway done, because you want people to see your full potential. And the way that art is meant to be made in general is for people to bring out their full expression of their feelings when they're creating art. It was done like that in the Renaissance days. It was done like that in the days before that. It wasn't about the whole status quo. It's very easy to get lost in that. It definitely is, because some people want to try to get as many following as possible by just posting art. I get that. But with you just posting art just as quickly as possible, that really does take away your quality of your work. So really, what's much more important to you is the quality of the work, or just the idea of just getting it out there in general, or just as fast as possible to just try to like get some kind of traction. Now, it's one thing if you're showing people a progress of your work. That's completely understandable. You want to show people some progress here and there, because you do want to try to keep people in the know of what you're working on. I will admit, every once in a while, when I actually create something new, I do try to post something that I am working on, and I think that's one of the things about the Facebook stories and the Instagram stories and Snapchat also, is that there's these 15-second videos that you can absolutely use to show people that you are working on something at the moment. Now, they don't have to see the exact complete project at that time, but you want people to know that, okay, this is currently what I'm working on. Hopefully it will turn out the way I want it to. And that's the part that comes in of whether you want to absolutely post it as quickly as possible, or you want to think about that quality of that work. Especially if you want to try to get commissions from people. That's definitely another thing I definitely want to talk about is like commission work. You definitely want to showcase people your best work. You want to show them exactly what you're working with, and the thing about that is that some people do have particular things that they are looking for. Some people are looking at your art style. Some people are looking at how well you color something. These may be some people that may want to hire you as a colorist for your comics, or people that may want you to be an artist for their comics in general. I'll definitely say that that's exactly how I landed into being in the comic book industry, or should I say in the indie comic book industry, is that when I was doing Inktober, of course, I did an Inktober of a robot, and it was the very first day of Inktober of 2017. Yeah, it was the first day of 2017 for Inktober. All I've done was a silhouette of a robot, and I posted it to Facebook, and I shared it to a group. A person took interest into my art style, and they took interest into how I drew the robot. So that person contacted me through my Kaz-Magic Studios page on Facebook, and they asked me about working with them on comics. It was a bit of a slow start at first to absolutely get into the comic book, just getting the comic book done first, because at the time they wanted to pay me, but they weren't able to absolutely pay me because they were lacking the funds. So when they got the funds, they definitely kept me in mind as one of the people to absolutely talk to about absolutely working on the comic. They never forgot about that robot. They asked me so many questions about that robot, and then after that they asked me where can they find more of my work other than just Facebook. So I told them about the other places where I have some of my artwork, and I told them about my comics that I had worked on. The 2 comics that I had posted to Webtoons, I gave them a link to that, and they checked it out, and they told me which part of the comics they thought were absolutely their favorite. So that's that part that comes to play, what I was saying right there, with quality versus wanting to just get your work out there as quickly as possible. You can get some work out there that are not complete at the moment. You, however, can go back to that work and try to make more details to it. Take as much time as possible to get that piece out there, so that way people can see your best quality. There are drawings that I have worked on for 2 months. And it's not just because of the fact that I'm having to deal with the day job, but it's also because of the fact that I really want to try to put my best into this work. That piece that I had done for Final Fantasy VII Remake, not the one with Cloud, because the one that I did with Cloud, that one was more of like maybe 40-minute to an hour and a half probably. I want to say it was an hour and a half artwork that I had done for that one, because it was from one of the trailers where Cloud was cross-dressing. That's actually the best scene in the remake, and it's definitely the best scene, best thing that you encounter in the original Final Fantasy VII. But when it came to that specific Final Fantasy VII Remake poster that I made to get ready for Anime Fest, I spent 2 months on that one piece, and it was an 11x17 artwork that I had done. It was 11x17 artwork, and I had gone back to do all of the characters. I took my time with each and every one of them. It didn't come out as exactly my best absolute work, but you can really go back and look at that piece and tell how much work I really put into that. And I made two versions of that artwork. I made the original version of where everything was full 100% color, and then as it was getting close to Anime Fest, I went back to that same artwork, and I thought, okay, I want to have some kind of special edition of this. So there was like a bluish grayish monotone of that artwork, or should I say of that piece, to have as a special edition, because I wanted it to catch the eye, like how the front cover of Final Fantasy VII and the Final Fantasy VII Remake were going to capture the audience. I really wanted it to match that. That's how you know that you're going into quality more than you're just going into just getting it out there. That's why I say that that's such a very critical thing, because some people just post their art and it's not really the best looking or anything, but then they get like a lot of likes. You do get some people that will get some likes based on their following because of the quality of their work, and these are people that know that you're going to do very good work. They're not worried about you just getting your work out there. Some people are definitely much more worried about you just providing content in general instead of your quality of your work. And that's why the next thing I definitely want to talk about is be consistent as much as possible. You will definitely come across a time of where you're not going to be able to keep up with your platform. I definitely have a hard time keeping up with multiple platforms of mine, considering that I'm having to work with more than 3. I have, like I was saying earlier, I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, ArtStation, and then there's my personal website itself. So those are 6 platforms that I'm having to work with the absolute most to try to get my work out there. Is it very easy to keep track of all of those and to also try to make sure that you're very consistent on them? No. It is definitely not very easy to be very consistent on all of them. YouTube definitely requires you to do a video. You want to sit and think about what kind of video you want to do. Then there's some editing involved. Whether you want to add music to it, especially if you want to add like your own music to it, like what I do for my videos. I made my own music, so I decided to buy a music software called Rhythmic Rhythmic Studio. That's what I'm using. But I also use Rhythmic Ultimate on my Nintendo 3DS along with Rhythm Core Alpha to make my own music specifically for my YouTube channel. You have the option with the other social media, not ArtStation, but with the other social media like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, to where excuse me, to where you're really just doing videos, or if you just want to post art. Posting the artwork is in general is a little bit easier than it is doing the videos, because some people try to be as creative as possible, and this is me looking at my friends that are cosplayers. When they're doing their TikTok videos, they're posting videos that they had done weeks ago, because of the fact that they're having to sit here and think about what kind of video they want to do. But also, I know the fact that it does take a while for them to have to get their cosplay together. Your platform definitely depends on how well you know it, how well you use it, and what kind of audience you know is absolutely in it. So when I say that be consistent as much as possible. Pick a particular time of where you're wanting to absolutely post your art. Is it going to be once a month, or is it going to be twice a week, or is it going to be twice a month? Set yourself a goal on how you want to be consistent when it comes to you posting to that social media. I'm getting to a point now of where I have so much going on that I need to absolutely start picking a particular time of when I want to be able to post. But also there are certain things that come across that I have no control over. So there are some setbacks that I have to deal with. I would definitely admit to that. However, the more consistent you are, and this is something I was definitely mentioned something earlier about, the more consistent you are, the more you get attraction, and people have a good understanding of when you're going to be able to post something. But also, this is a good idea and a time for you to be able to land commissions. When you're posting commissions to social media, that is definitely a good way to get people to know that this is what you do. You're also catering to people that are looking for commissions. That's why I was saying choose your platform, choose your audience. Are you choosing to get people that are looking for artists that they can get artwork from, or artists that they just want to follow because they love your work? Commissions definitely do play a role in your social media, because you never know who may actually be looking for something. And like I said, that's exactly how I landed getting into the comic book industry. But also I have had people to come up to me in conventions. Excuse me. I have had people to come up to me in conventions and actually decided to follow my work and also get commissions from me, so that way they can be able to see more of my work and be able to see the progress of their work that is going to be posted to social media. If you post progression of a commission, or if you post a commission that you have done to social media, that will definitely help. It will definitely help getting some people to your area to be able to start getting some kind of work from you, or just being able to start following you. And once they start seeing how consistent you are after that, then they too might absolutely want to try to get something from you as well. I hope that all this advice definitely was very helpful. Choose your platform, follow your inspirational artists, use hashtag, decide whether you want to post for the following or you just want to showcase your work, and be consistent as much as possible. Remember those key points. I may have had other key points that I have thought of and just did not really think about absolutely talking about, but those are the main key things that you definitely want to remember. And I hope that you guys have a good 4th. I am definitely in the process of doing a lot of heavy recording today, since I had the entire week off. But I also had a visitor over too, which was my mother figure. So I've been helping my mother figure out. She's she's definitely been a huge help with me on many things, and she's definitely someone that I look up to. She's helped me with my YouTube channel. She's helped me with my social media platform, with how to absolutely advertise myself, because she learned all of this from her grandfather that used to own his own company. It was a steel company, and he taught her everything of what she needed to know, and she's passing all of that knowledge on down to me. And so with her passing her knowledge down to me, I'm doing the same for you guys, and I thank her so much for teaching me everything of what she has been learning from him. She told me that if he was around and he saw how well I was doing with everything and what I was doing, he would be super proud. He would be very, very proud of what I'm doing. He would be asking me questions about how I'm doing this and that, and I would be glad to explain to him. But anyway, you guys have yourselves a great fourth. Definitely be safe out there. I know it's still pretty hectic at the moment, but I will see you guys next time. You guys be safe. Love you all.